Hello, and if you're finding this video, how'd you get here? Anyways, if you're wanting to get the line that roared, things have changed, thanks to Gotten Dameron. Don't worry, I spent the time struggling to figure out a new strategy that somewhat works, and that is pretty easy for newer players. So, here we go. Welcome to Ethiopia. Italy wants our cheeks. So, everyone up here, throw them there. Take everyone in here, throw them in here. Let's put them all underneath the field marcher. These guys are going to come right back here along this line for the reason all of these have mountains. This is going to be a very good defensive line. In addition, we're going to take just these three and add them down here, just for the time being. From there, and we move everyone off the front line. Once when they're all moved, also click that. Okay, coming up on the north. No matter what, I'll say, unless you play as them, we'll be surrendering to Italy, so we need to ensure that our northern front is all ready to go. By that, we will take these guys and go about right here to put up a new defensive line. You do not need to try to protect this one. If you want to protect this tile and try to hold on to the state, it will assist with this, and it will sometimes keep you above 50%. It really depends on how you want to do it. I tend to attempt it. If it doesn't seem like it's going to be holding too much longer, I will end up having these guys just fall back into here and holding the line right here, because Italy will not have supply on these two. They sometimes have enough supply to do an offense, but if they bring tanks up here, they aren't pushing up. They tend to bring the tanks down into the south. So, with all that, that is how we're going to want the military setup. I don't really care about too much more because we end up trading away our one and only civilian factory to France to get steel. This is non-optional. You need to be doing this. If you do not do this, you will not produce enough firearms to keep yourself in the war. Historically, Ethiopia is supposed to come down here, do boarding the train, so once when they capitulate, they can end up fleeing to, I think it's United Kingdom. I believe Germany actually gets an option, France, and maybe the United States. I haven't played Ethiopia, like, intentionally being capitulated in quite a long time, so I'm not 100% certain how they do that. So, real quick, we're going to do the same thing with our army up north. Just get them all moved off the front line as quickly as possible. Yeah, just move them that way. From here, that actually. Do that. And we start with the Second Italian-Ethiopian War. We want some manpower, and more specifically, once when that's done, we wanted to go to the fallback line to get some these land forts, maybe. If not, we just want that army reorg, the war defense, and that. From there, once when we have that, we will be grabbing the development one, and then start working on the military as much as we can. The more we can get our military fixed, the better we will be in the long term. So, with all that set and done, who are you and why are you not on the front line? Huh? Cool. You'll just go down there. Okay. Let's do this. We do not have anyone that we can assign a field marshal, so we go with him. Because he's got infantry expert. Actually, Desert Fox for you. Oh, did I really just do that? Yep. Okay. Never mind. Okay, I messed up with those officers, but it's fine. I'm not doing a restart. So what I meant by I made a mistake was normally you want to take the Desert Fox and put him up in the north where it's all mountains. That will make it so he can become a mountain expert and you would be able to get the adaptability. You will see that later in the video. But honestly, after doing this run now and doing two more after it, I think I stand by the new choice of just go with infantry expert up north, especially since if you bring all of your regulars down south, like I do later in the video,
you're going to want the infantry expert up north. It's going to be doing you a lot more favors than if you get like adaptability, because that just you're not attacking up north most of the time. So that adaptability trait doesn't help too much versus getting the extra defense and attack.
So right at the beginning, try to leave it on 3 and make sure you can get as much of them off the front lines as quickly as possible. So we go with that. As long as you can get your guys onto this line, these 2 lines at least, arguably, sometimes if you want to try to save the divisions, cut it right here. The only reason why I sometimes try to do this is when Osse flips, you sometimes have a chance to quickly blitz them and take at least the city. If you can take the city, you'll end up having some extra support. I think they have at least 1 mil in Osse. First thing first, call him back. Him back. Posture there. And you'll just go right there. Okay. Here is where micromanaging comes into play, like, a lot. Look at you. Modek. Modek. If you can get into there in time, we'll have Osse. It really depends if we can beat them into this tile. There we go. We got Osse. If you're not able to do this, or you don't feel like you're comfortable enough, do not worry. You don't need Osse to ensure a victory. This just helps you out very early. Long as we can push them out of Osse, whack them. Hey, it's some very huge casualties on their parts just immediately into the war. Maswarred. Zigaju, Geta Hoy. Remember those controls for a second. Okay, well, yeah, no, it's looking like we're not going to be able to grab Osse ourselves. So, we're going to have them leave, put the front line back up, and just hold on right here right now. I'm not trying to move into there. Why are we doing that? Okay, that Second Italian-Ethiopian War's done. So, I might... No. So we want to keep running down this one for the sole reason, right down here, you get max entrenchment, period. You get a flat max entrenchment and then an additional entrenchment speed plus additional defense, making it so these guys start having some decent entrenchment bonus.
Setuju. Tukrat. Adaptu. Aon getai.
Take them to there. I want them to move over to here already, so I can do my front line.
Adaptu.
And this is where you just need to start microing whoever has the best equipment in your army to ensure they're the ones that are at least being reinforced. Thankfully, since all of this that we're sitting on now are mountains, don't move. This is now the only way I've managed to find a somewhat viable and consistent way of beating Italy, since they like to bring the tanks now. And if you need some little shistions, just do that. And we want... There we go. We do want to get the balance of power over to the right, if possible, for the sole reason I want to expand rather than keep them.
Tukrat.
Okay, so yeah, now you would need to try to hold that as well if you want the 50% from the look of it. Hey, there we go.
Tuzaz.
Okay.
Setuju.
Everyone's now has their frontline orders. Hell yeah.
Adaptu.
Oh, excuse me.
Aon getai.
So if you're a newer player and haven't done an Ethiopia war before, we used to end up almost blitzing Italy because without fail, there was always at least a week or two where they just left both of these ports down here open and always gave you a free line just straight to the port. Meaning, right off the bat, you were able to completely encircle the Southern Army and then just, leave this one port open, take that port, and then they will try to keep funneling troops in here. That's how it was used to be done. Now, their tanks are here within the first week. Italy no longer holds troops in mainland anymore. They do send their entire military and air force down to Ethiopia. That is the biggest change with Guten Dammerung, and why it's a lot harder for new players. But if you follow this, just fall back to this mountain range and just hold, you will be fine. One key thing after you get this, after you get your Lessons of War, grab this before starting any of your military upgrades. Grab this for the reason we're going to be using the international market. It's a very rare thing that you don't see too often, but in the situation with Ethiopia, the international market is what will keep you alive the entire run. I kid you not, and you'll see why it happens the way it is.
Tukrat.
Alright, we should be good to at least move back up to 4 times speed, since I only want to be down on 3 times to ensure I can micro my army into the back. But yeah, like I said before, they have no supply over here whatsoever. So they are not able to actually keep their troops supplied. Osse, which weirdly enough loses its supply capital, they don't have supply. It's why if you're playing as Italy, one of the best things you can do is take Osse, immediately release them, because it will give you that supply hub back. Also, supply hub here for Ethiopia. You're good with supplies. This is the one spot where you're kind of you need to worry. If you want, just do that. just do that. That will, if you can get this built, you're good. They will never be able to touch you there. From here, just keep cycling whoever has the most amount of equipment or whoever has the least experience. I usually go with more of the least experience earlier on. For the sole reason I want to get everyone at least semi-trained up. We're gonna be those people today of hitting last stand. Do I get the Desperate Dispense since we're below 50, right? Yes, since we're below 50%, we... Wait, I'm not below 50? I am so... Oh, no, I am only at 49%. Okay, yeah. I read that wrong. So if you do hold on to this state, it's enough to keep you from going below 50%. I didn't realize this was this... I thought... I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was the actual tile that had the victory point on it, not this one. So yes, I would now recommend knowing this. Hold on to this, because when I did my runs and tests, I drew my line down here and avoided this tile, and I was below 50% until I was able to take a tile back. So I would recommend holding on to this. As you can see, I ain't looking too good. Okay. Development. Okay. There we go! So you can either do army morale if you care about like the lower political power. I'm going with the defense. Last time I did it, I actually went with the maneuver, and I didn't really see enough of a movement speed change that I can justify grabbing it a second time. However, that being said, I want that. The more you can do to prevent Italy's air force from being involved, the longer you will have to hold out. Right now, the only way Italy really is able to push is with their air force. If their air force is not helping, they can't push you off a mountain tile. They just don't have enough here. Their supply isn't strong enough. And when you get into situations like this, just do a last defense. Come over here, grab someone like that. Come over here, grab someone like that. Oop, that was the wrong one. And boom, there you go. From here, I'm actually off for the reason when I was doing test runs, I found there's one focus that, like, weirdly enough can be, will either help you a ton or it's not going to really do anything. But that's scavenger tactics, right? It's going to give 3 of your guys just scavenger. And I would recommend at least promoting one of them up to a field marshal and making them your field marshal. It will make it so everyone across the board has a small chance to pull equipment off the front lines. And yeah, it's not a lot. It's not that high. But when you only have 2 factories making guns, any bit helps. And I kid you not, I actually was able in testing to fill this army with artillery just from what I took from the Italians over the war. So I'm on the side of get it. Other people will say don't, and I know the spreadsheet boys will say it probably isn't helpful. But I personally like it, and it's only a 35-day focus, so do as you wish. But I do believe, I don't know if it affects, like, if they already have traits and skills, etc., etc. That part I don't know. I know the game well enough that I can play and win at times. All the in-game mechanics, though. just like that. Italy's on the losing side now. Oh yeah, that's right. Do this real quick. For the reason, once when we start trading a little bit more, and like we need to start using convoys, I don't want them running through the Mediterranean. If they go through the Mediterranean, they're getting sunked. But if they go around, we'll actually have a shot. Okay, I think it would be good to bump it up to 5 times. Nope, my computer's not strong enough for 5 times. Got it. So, with that shit and doing... funny enough, I did not actually touch my industry in practice until like almost the 1940s. I had completely forgotten about it whatsoever, so I'm trying not to do that a second time. Next one I'm grabbing is this army reorg. Seriously, don't sleep on this. That 4% is... It can be a difference between you losing a tile and you not losing a tile. I'm not joking. It has helped me so much. Having that has made it, instead of having like a fraction of their organization getting back into a fight, they've had almost the entire organization coming back into a fight. That's why I will say grab it. For now, Spain has joined us in the world stage of fighting. Next one will be... Yeah, the Chinese Unified Front should be next. I did do it. I think I did do a historical. Right? I don't remember if I clicked historical. I'm almost certain I do. I don't really play on historical. I'm usually the historical part. But there you go. Just like that, July 27th, 1936, Italy has already stopped being able to push and is no longer actively trying. With Lessons of War, we now have a base entrenchment. So, we're going to come over here real quick, grab the extra civilian factors so I can trade those civilian factors away, and just get guns off of the international market. When we have enough, we will be going with Grand Battle Plan Doctrine for right now. I will be switching out later when I'm ready to go on the offense. But that 10%, not 10%, that 10 to max entrenchment is the equivalent of having engineer support companies. And yet, being a small nation that doesn't really have any industry, having a pseudo-engineer company without main support equipment is huge. That is every single run that I tried without getting that, I would end up eventually running out of supplies, and Italy will eventually get through you. They will be able to outproduce you. Like, clearly, you're gonna get outproduced. But throwing that onto it, I've found every single time it's what you need to finally hold Italy back and constantly keep getting hits off of them. So, here we are. You are going to need to probably micro this a little bit. Right now, this is the only spot they are attempting to push. Which I just realized is also my fort. Why? That is not your best idea, Italy. Of all places they could have actually pushed. When I was doing testing work, it was these two that got pushed the most. That's why I started pushing it down there, but now... I'll take it. Keep pushing a fort. Go ahead, Italy. That's just helping me long term. Okay, and now we grab the army rework. There we go. With all this, we are stable, if I say so myself. Gotta do do this. Just forgotten now.
Setuju.
Just because I have a very specific front line that I like to always go with. Through this. Yeah, I'll probably have a section down below if when I get around to it. I'll do a, hey, this is what I use for my front lines. This is what I use on my tank divisions. This is what my tanks are, right? I will have a dedicated section to the end of this video just solely for that. If you want to see that, check the description for the timestamp down there. Otherwise, you will just need to find it when I'm making it inside the game, so I apologize that I will have it at the end of the video rather than just trying to do it in the middle of it. So, ooh. So you could do that, which, don't get me wrong, I want balance of power to move to the right as much as possible, but if you don't do this, which I don't know if that actually fires all the time, because I don't actually fully remember if I had that before. Okay, we got enough trains. However, I just want to be safe rather than sorry, so I'm going to take some. Yoink! There we go. I'm not gonna lie, I made the mistake in testing of I just flipped all of my production over to the new one, and I genuinely believe I think that's what almost made me lost every single time. So when you get your new weapons, do not remove all of it. Leave the one that still has it being produced X amount a day. Until this one can get up to 1 a day, do not remove your old ones so you can continue having a military production of at least crappy weapons. From here, we now have some civilian factories, 1 to be exact. You can either let him continue trying to work and make this 1 fort. Granted, I'm not seeing a reason to it since they are not actually trying to push anymore, so I'm just gonna let him do that. Maybe this? Yeah, I guess we can just do that for right now. Oh, la 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 la. Grab that real quick. Adaptable there. All set. Dun. We swap. You won't know. Yes, I'm gonna be swapping a lot of generals out to try to get as many as possible to get their movement traits. Whatever. The theater ones, I think it's called. What is it called? I play a lot of this, but I don't know what everything is called. Terrain traits. My bad. Wow.
Adamtu. Setuju, geht ahoy. Lodek.
Okay, so with things starting to stabilize out, what I want to do in a second is shift everyone around, but I can't do it while stuff like this is going on. What I need to do... We'll do a 2-for-2 swap, right? Swap you. Put you there, right? These two... Once when those two get pushed off and moved. Oh, I should have explained what that was. My bad. So, if you're not aware, Ethiopia, you're not allowed to do this first one, right? Because I think it's these spirits right here. And what I ended up picking was you get the choice of bold attack, tenacious defense, and then I think this one. Excuse me. But after you, of course, you pick it, the rest becomes unlocked to just start switching. You can't decide until then. I just always go with bold attack. Again, this is the focus that if you want to grab, go ahead. It is not required. I personally like it, so I grab it before going down. Third speed, grab more production efficiency cat and get a third research slot. Now, let's see. People are now starting to put stuff up on the market. So, you go and buy it. What? What just happened?
Modok! Oi! Ông ghê thế! Đâm tụ!
That's a problem.
Ông ghê thế! Thưa giật! Zigaju, ghê hội! Ông ghê thế! Zigaju! Ông ghê thế! Zigaju! Zigaju, ghê hội! Zigaju! Modok! Thưa giật! Thưa giật!
There we go. With that done, come over here.
Oh,
And
get it?
very quickly. Hold on a sec. Like I was saying, now the one we need to find who had. Ooh, hell yeah! Right off the bat, yoink. And we give him Ambusher. So now, even more entrenchment. What is our entrenchment now? Not terrible.
Tukrat! Adam tu.
Okay. I didn't realize he was the one that already had it, so that was a little bit of a waste, but it's whatever. Now, with all that, right, if we just pull him up, you can see we have a 6% chance of capturing any equipment in a battle, which, considering we're only making this, if anything shows up here, that means we're taking it from them.
Zigaju! Zigaju!
at least trying to push up north. Which I'm just gonna. Oh, there wasn't even a fight right there. Was there? Okay, well, fuck you. We're just gonna keep going. I didn't see a fight. Wait a minute. Did they?
Zigaju, get ahoy.
Are they really just walking right away?
Aum get ahoy.
Okay. This is what I mean by like Ethiopia got easier and harder at the same time. Because yes, they bring their tanks now, and their tanks can do some massive damage. But then they do shit like this. Why?
Citizen.
Like, genuinely, why did they just... They pushed me out to take it, and then just walked away. Wait a minute.
Tukrat.
Hold on. No. Did not just... Wait. They did not just leave a full opening. Like, the insane part is, this had a fort on it. That's why I'm surprised they just walked away. Why would you walk away from a fort? Oh, well, I took everything back. Okay. I need to send you up north. You up north.
Modak. Adam tu.
Okay. I hope if you are following along and trying to do something and get the achievement, I hope that didn't happen to you. Guys, I got lucky that I was able to fix that in a relatively quick fashion. Quick. Wow. Okay. How much is up to now? 6 a week. There we go. How is our stockpile doing? And this is why I say it is worth it, in my opinion.
Zigaju, get ahoy. Adam tu.
Excuse me. Push them back into there. We'll just go with military fears. I don't per se need anything else at the immediate moment. So I'm still gonna keep doing that for the reason I have the plan of adding artillery in a minute. Just once when the basic machining tools is done, I'm gonna go grab artillery and anti-air. It's for the sole reason if you can put artillery on this one, you can just create a front line up top that they won't be able to move anymore. Like, you can just place it, ignore it, and then put everyone down south and just keep pushing until they're out of the south. And then we do this, grab 1,000 rifles, and go accept. And just like that, getting more weapons.
Adam tu. Zigaju, get ahoy.
I'm in there instead. We need artillery. With artillery, front line will be stabilized fully. We can start focusing on trying sort of offensive force put together. And by offensive, I mean I'm just going to use the irregulars and then just have them grind away down at south once when we've done enough damage to them. Yeah, little Mussolini. So, not the last time I did this in like testing, I only got the unit ones. It was like, oh, I'll raise you units, or I can get it to swing to the right. So I need civilians and mills? Hell yeah! Mills! I'll keep on more guns!
On get it.
Gear in and do pop. So they can get in there to assist.
Molduk. On get it. Zgudju. Get ahoy.
I think one of my mountaineers just died. Yep. I lost the mountaineer. Oh well. Oh, yeah, duh. Okay. That's fine. I forgot stability's still going down.
Zgudju. Tukurat.
They're really pushing hard more than normal. There's the Chinese Unified like on Chinese Unified Front, not on. Oh yeah. There we go. To that one? I thought it was giving. Because it's gonna give us an insane good amount of equipment that ends up giving you right away. Whoa! Wait, what?
Tukurat. Adam tu.
Yeah, there's no way they just left that wide open. If they just left this entire front line wide open like this, it's the end of the war right here.
On get it. Tukurat.
We can beat them in there. That army's surrounded. I almost feel like I shouldn't continue going through with this now. Because this isn't how normal newer players are meant to be able to play and win.
Adam tu. Tezazat.
You know, if you haven't figured out, we're not. I'm not really supposed to be able to be doing this.
Modak. Zigaju. Tukurat.
Like that. A large portion of the Italian military is encircled on my southern front. And honestly, could I possibly?
Zigaju. Get ahoy. Zigaju.
And that's, I guess, it. That's the war, folks. And if you click white peace, what's going to end up happening is Italy will regain control of this, will retain control here. There we go. The war's over. And just like that, if it wasn't for the fact I already had the achievement, it would have already fired, and that would be force the Italians to make peace again while not being in a faction. The big key part of it is you can't be in a faction. I know I said I was going to do the whole tank stuff at the end of the video. I still will do it, but I'm just going to go jump to a different save and just show you it over on there, so I'm not having to spend an hour and a half just researching all the tech over here. So I was trying to make that a little bit more like a tutorial of how to do the Ethiopian War, but I accidentally did it too fast, so I'll probably do it again. Let me know. I'm gonna go invade Britain now. Well, actually no, not Britain. I'm gonna quickly get an actual military put together very, very fast. And take everything back. Really, this man. Oh. What trucks? France. Alright, well, let's get done. But, July 1937, we have won the Ethiopian War. I guess all you really just need is a... So all you really need is just a few encirclements and encircle half their army. Wipe them all out. Why that works, or the way it works. So either you just finished the end of the Ethiopia video, or you're jumping forward because you want to see views look like. I'm jumping over to my Iran game. As you can see, these divisions kind of work, at least. So, let's start with this, right? This tends to be my Space Marine division if I am going to be going very, very heavy into just using a weaponry, especially if I know I'm going to be on the back end and needing to defend and still have an industry to produce tanks. Iran, if you get built up in time, you are still able to get those medium anti-air tanks out, and that is what you can use to beat Russia and the United Kingdom, hence why I did it. Normally, looks more like this. If I don't worry about manpower, I leave them like this. If I have a huge industry behind me, I usually add an additional artillery piece right here. And if I'm a little bit more worried about manpower, I end up usually throwing because of the template thing for the anti-air tank. But generally speaking, so long as you never let them be offensive, this will be able to hold the front line for you almost every single time, unless tanks show up. Tanks will sometimes just have willy-nilly, especially if it's only just one of them. Number via tanks, these guys will be getting pushed back. Now, my shock troops. This one, extremely late game, right? This was solely because I was sick and tired of dealing with Russia, so I threw this together just to eat them up and be able to just drive past as much as possible. So, I don't actually use this often, and like you can see, unless you're at far end game, it's not going to be worth it. However, this tends to be my finalized go-to. All set and done, 1948. I have everything already produced that I want. I end up doing 30 with it ending at about 31 organization, a bunch of medium tanks, some mechanized, and a single heavy tank. So the armor and the hardness are as high as physically possible, making this thing almost impossible for the AI to pierce on its own. The AI has now been adding in anti-tank quite often onto their front lines, so it's no longer a one unit push. You're gonna need at least like 2 or 3 of them to push willy-nilly without any problems whatsoever, right? And I will also, let's see, this tends to be this is generally how I work with my tanks. I'm not going to go through every single one of the tanks that I make and how it is. Instead, I'm going to explain to you my thought process of what tank I'm going to be designing in what position I'm in, right? But generally speaking, I do have these set up just kind of as a quick base ground, because almost always, I generally, if I have the tungsten available,
I will end up using the medium cannons or improved medium cannons. If I don't have the tungsten available, oops, I always end up going just close to Porca. If I don't have the tungsten available and I don't get anything else upgraded, just so I don't need to worry about the tungsten. I did have it available, so I did. From there, it goes the same exact way when it comes to the type of armor I'm using. If I don't have the chrominium available, I'm only going to be going with riveted. I almost never go with the cast armor because of that production increase on medium tanks. If it's very early game and I'm still using light tanks, occasionally I will end up doing cast armor, but it's either I have the chrominium to go with welded or I don't, and that's how I pick between these two. I almost always end up just going Krishna suspension just for extra speed because reliability, I can use this more to adjust it. With the addition, I usually end up going with the easy maintenance. But honestly, I don't know why this game specifically I did it. It's been a minute since I've done this one, but normally, more recently, this is... Normally this is something more in line of what I would put together, and I would probably do something more with this. I don't fully remember why I had it exactly like this. I think it was something between the MIOs and how I was working it with the medium tank and heavy tank that I had it just set up this way. But with that, where did the medium tank go? My bad. There we go. I would recommend not using something like this on your anti-air tank. In all honesty, that's usually what your anti-air tank is gonna be wanting to look like. By the time that I think I put this one together, I was just so late into the game. I already had taken out India and China that I just started building the absolute best thing physically possible. But generally speaking, this is how you're going to want to set up your anti-air tank if you're going to go with an anti-air. I know the frames are all the advanced ones, but this is stuff that you don't need any sort of additional research for. You just need to get the base tank, base anti-air, make it, put it onto the front lines, and that's it. It will be only a defending troop, though. Do not be offensive with them. It's not meant to be offensive. That's what it... wait, hold on. Was this my heavy tank, or was that the heavy tank? Okay, yeah, but no. Heavy tank, same thing. This one specifically, I went for piercing. Because I was just getting sick and tired of... very... visions, although like the soft attack and hard attack is just not possible to do anything, it's just annoying as hell with how high their armor can be and bring up the hardness of their division that it was just easier to counter them with a heavy tank with a really strong piercing value to just say fuck you, I'm going through you now. So heavy tank isn't fully needed. You can totally get away with just removing that and putting in a medium tank, and it will be doing just as fine. Just your piercing. If you run into a medium or heavy tank division, you're going to want to encircle it rather than just facing it head on. It's going to be easier, you're going to lose less tanks, but either way, this still will push their divisions. It's just going to be much more expensive to push them. So, with that, we can now jump over to the Air Force. Air Force, for the most part, don't care. This is the game where I was just researching everything to see what everything was, right? So, in reality, I'm just going to quickly pop down here. So, if you make it all the way to the modern ones, just go with this, right? Put as much air attack on it physically as possible. If you don't have all the modern equipment, up until... So, 1933, 1936 planes,
use only the light machine guns, right? Use light machine guns if you have drop tanks or survivabilities or whatnot. You can add a armor plate on it, but for the interwar, just throw the 4 light machine gun modules, the 2 of them, on it, and just be done with it. That will be more than enough to deal with it within the very beginning of the game, or do what I do and just not care about interwar airframes. Once when you have the small airframes, you either go with the heavy machine guns and just really just go full in on that air attack, or do what I do and I stick with only the light machine guns still. And from there, I end up putting the armor plates and self-sealing fuel tanks on it. Let me see if I can quickly find. Oop. Hold on. So, this is the one of how I would design the advanced planes. I do have that right there. Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that was messed up. I gotta fix that. But for the advanced, this is where I would recommend switching over into the heavy machine guns and using those. While you're still down on the basic, right? Is it crew fighter? There it is. Yeah. While you have the basic fighters, I would recommend going with this for the sole reason it doesn't hurt. It's the perfect bit of air attack, air defense, range, and agility without sacrificing too much of each. When you do the whole only going with the heavy machine guns in this sense, you lose a decent amount of agility, which is not the best thing, because at this point you're probably still only with 2 engines level 2, and if you're going with engine level 3, why aren't you just using the advanced aircraft? It's the reason why the amount that you have to sacrifice with your agility just to get a tiny bit more air attack out of it, I don't fully think is worth it. Especially since most of the time, unless you're playing Germany, you're not going to have enough of these fighters up and out to actually cause a difference, and it's just so much more expensive. Keeping it with the light machine gun, self-sealing, and armor tank, and leaving it on interception until you have enough to actually fight an Air Force is the smarter way to move, and in most cases is what you're going to probably be doing, rather than just having a few thousand planes ready to go. Let's see, what else do we need to go over? We got the carrier bombers, which really, it's just whatever one you have at the time, throw it on there. Once when I'm in later game and I had the production line to do so, I add self-sealing fuel tanks and armor plates, but almost always I had at least a MG attached onto the aircraft carrier, the naval bomber, and usually that's just it, mainly because I also have really, really good aircraft fighters. Would be advisable to add this on is like how I use them here. It just says normal naval bombers rather than just. Yeah, there. See. Oh, no, that is the wrong Air Force. Are you over on the plane? Yeah, see. I was using them as well. Coastlines, not just. Why are you out here? I don't even know why he's out. Yes, my.
differ based on how big of an industry I have. Otherwise, if I don't have the torpedoes are straight off of, they're really fast, they got really good high attack. Marines are coming after them. They're getting shredded. They have to go through your screens, and then this capital ship, even to get to your main carriers. Because this still manages to screen. So, this tends to be the capital ship, unless I have like an insane industry where I can just meme out battleships. Otherwise, I never fuck with battleships. Destroyer. This one, I kind of actually have improperly labeled. This one would be considered my attack destroyer. Again, components are just based off of what research I have available and how good my economy is. Just a bunch of torpedoes, and since it's also a destroyer, these are the ones that I tend to put the little whatever this thing is called. Wow, sonar. That's it. And then this one really should have been labeled the defense one, because his whole job is just to sink submarines and follow convoys. This is very rare. I don't know exactly why I did this at first. I think, if I remember correctly, Britain actually was randomly laying a bunch of mines down here on me, and that's the only reason why I built it. Other than that, you got just your normal subs. I don't even myself understand how to sub spam. I think I've just learned the Navy to the point where I don't know. Every time I've tried sub spamming, I get most of my subs sunk. So I tend to just go with death stacking and then just... Okay, actually this one was a slight lie. This one, I got so annoyed with all of the naval invasions that they were doing up here that I just threw mines everywhere up here. And I don't know if that's how sub-spam's supposed to be working, but I kid you not, even when I had the mines down, it was just enough to prevent them from naval invading me. I still had to build a fleet to beat Britain, and then their fleet turned into this. But let's see. We went over Navy, we went over Air Force, we went over tanks. I think that's about everything that is semi-important. If there's any other parts of how I set up my games and move through it, please ask. This is only usually on the defensive side. I never updated. When I go on offensive, I usually flip to this for the extra speed. I just never did that this game. But oh, I never saw that. I'm just trying to show you the stuff that I normally go with at this point. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I got nothing better to do with my life. I'm just waiting to die. Hell yeah.